I've studied a number of different so-called systems that try to explain these things. For example, in the science of mind, a work that was based upon New Thought, which is a number of authors. Science of Mind was written by Ernest Holmes, and he said basically, you as a human have an ability to impress your will upon the subconscious mind. In other words, you can say, I want a car, and the subconscious mind will deliver you a car. I cannot tell you the whole science of mind in a lecture of 15 minutes because the book itself is about this thick. And that's just the textbook. That doesn't give you all the books that precede that book, upon what the book is based, and etc., etc. In the end, Ernest Holmes kind of got away from his own science of mind. His last book basically talked about the divinity. And, what I gather from that is he kind of felt like the divinity should be left to do the divinity, and people should stop trying to do occult means to get things that they apparently want. As for other types of beings, humans are very blind. Some are open to the idea that there could be extraterrestrials that have sentience, in other words, that are self-aware beings like humans. But most humans are not willing to believe that in the animal kingdom there's any intelligence that's worth protecting by law. In other words, I don't think you're going to find too many humans that figure that whales should be treated with the same respect in law as humans. In other words, it's okay to kill whales. It's not called murder. Why is that? I think most humans don't want to look at these questions, because even when they come up with the idea that, Jesus, we're a horrible race, the human race, which is true, the next thing that comes to mind is, what the hell can I do about it? 1 out of 8 billion humans. The spiritual teacher, Dr. David R. Hawkins, said people who ponder these kind of questions, he said, I recommend what you do is you surrender all of these questions and all of these problems to God, because you, poor human, can see these problems and see they're intractable. In other words, you can't solve them. And even if you could get a lot of people on board, look how much luck we've had with Greenpeace. Even today, they report, after all these years, that they're still cutting old growth forests in British Columbia, Canada. It seems that on the human scene, we have no ability to affect any kind of change. We elect politicians. You have one vote in, how big is your country? 8 million, 30 million, 300 million, a billion if you're in India. One vote, and you're going to say, well, I had a say in who was elected prime minister or president. No, you have no say. So again and again, I'm going to have to go back and say, Dr. Hawkins is right. You're going to basically have to say, I know these are problems, and all I see are stupid people coming up with stupid answers that they're implementing for problems that should be surrendered to higher consciousness. The things like the carbon taxes, the same politicians that slap huge taxes on gasoline are off flying around and jet aircraft on their campaign. These people don't care, and they're too stupid to be president or prime minister. Our system of electing political people as leaders is stupid. We should have spiritual people who lead us. And then people look to Islam and they say, I don't want an Islamic mullah to run my country and turn it into Iran. And there's always a drawback to these words, because you say that's a spiritual person. I'll say that's a religious person, a religious fundamentalist. And I will not tell you that that person is a spiritual person, because they're not. They are as bad as the politicians we have in the West. They're self-serving, chasing power and money and all kinds of treats they can get on the side. How are you going to find out who is a spiritual person that's going to lead you? Well, first of all, you have to decide to be led. And how many humans on this planet want to be led at all? Not too many. So in essence, I don't know how many more philosophical, metaphysical systems I'm going to need to go through to find one, other than to loop back and say, I don't know. I don't know. I choose not to live in fear, and yet I have fear thrown at me every day. I have got a lot of humans who don't really want to discuss anything logically. They want to talk. They want to talk out of their ass because they haven't studied any of the things that I've studied. And yet they think, if I'm allowed to speak for 10 minutes, they're allowed to speak for an hour. And they have nothing to speak about other than just the garbage that they picked up on the street. This is another problem with trying to talk to humans. Humans don't respect scholars. They don't. It's the old idea that, if you're a college boy and somebody who, doesn't respect college is never going to respect anything you learned. If you studied on your own for many years, very few people are going to give you credit for it. So the point of the matter is, why bother having a human around? Humans they have great potential. They have incredible potential. And if you think of the vast numbers of university and public libraries that someone who wanted to learn could go to, and then you look at the number of people who don't, who would rather watch Netflix or go to the liquor store and buy themselves a magnum of wine, I'm sorry. I mean, who is it on? Well, it's on the individual humans. If you want to use this lifetime to advance your consciousness, you have enormous, enormous opportunities to do so. But if you are lazy, or you're prone to prefer to watch NFL football all fall season, how many seasons of NFL football do you need to watch before you realize it's pretty much the same game all the time? You're not playing it. You're not commentating on it. Why the hell do you waste hours every weekend watching the NFL football? Oh, they're just amazing athletes. How is that helping you? I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. What enjoyment are you seeing? How do you enjoy it? Oh, I just love to watch how they can do these things. How is that advancing your consciousness? It's not advancing your physicality. It's not like you watch 10 football games and then you know how to go out and be Brett Favre. No, it's doing you zero good when you could be turning the television off and you could go down to your public library and pick a selection of books from philosophy and literature and various other subjects. But even the people that do go to the library pretty much want to get, the the novel of the week, which is basically a retread of last week's novel, the same thing over and over again. They kind of stick to the fictional things, and they don't want to take anything in the nonfiction area because it's too heavy for me. So that is why the state of humanity is the way it is. And if you wonder, well, why is it that certain people seem to have all the money? It's because certain people do have all the money, and certain people that have all the money have the ability to hire the best brains on the planet and put them to work on their pet projects. Is it for the benefit of humanity? No, it is for the benefit of those who have hired these top brains. Someone says, you don't have a very good optimistic outlook on humanity as a whole. No, I don't. On individual humans, I say it time and again. You have the ability to learn right through to the point where you get bad dementia and you're in an old folks' home. But most of these old folks, the way they learn is through the gossip table. They get together with other old folks and they gossip. What did they learn? Bugger all. And it's the same with the young people who watch video games. You learn nothing from video games. Oh, it's helping my hand-eye coordination. And then what? You've got a lot of years that you can use. And granted, this planet does not make it easy for you to survive. A lot of times you've got to pull yourself away from the things you really want to do something someone else wants you to do so they can pay you a pittance so you can afford to eat.